Hi, I'm Todd Pappy, Game Director at God of War Ascension. What you're about to see is a making of video that we've been shooting over about 2+ years. It gives you a good idea of the inception of an idea all the way through to the final product. Keep in mind that this is a work in progress. Enjoy.
You are on one of two teams fighting over the chance to slaughter this giant Cyclops that we have nicknamed Megalops, a Mega Cyclops. And there's been some debate, it's Megalops, not Megaclops, because Megaclops sounds like a giant horsey.
Megaclops is a terrible misnomer. I'm going to fight to the bitter end to change its name from Megaclops.
It's been in gestation for quite a while because it's kind of the sum total of a lot of the stuff that we've been messing around with in the multiplayer mode really for the last, I don't know, what's nearly 2 years.
We need to tighten in the multiplayer to capture the God of War essence and insert it into multiplayer. That's what we need. Some of the early sketches, this guy right here. So this one is a more upright, barrel-chested, more intelligent Cyclops. With gigantic characters, it's always a good idea to find some way to suggest scale. His necklace is made out of human skulls. We moved on to the next step. I didn't really think about it, but he looks like a rock star up on the stage, like going, ah! And that's all Todd could see after I designed it. So I was like, ah, shit. So very close to that is this. One of the biggest challenges in designing Cyclops is to keep them from feeling cartoony. Seeing the white of the eye is what gives it that cartoony quality. I don't know why that is. So this is kind of like a dog eye. So it gives him more of an animalistic, evil quality, I hope. But also I wanted to draw your attention to something that stuck through even from the beginning. The necklace made of human skulls, but this time it literally is a manclass because I added human bodies. I wanted to give the players every hint possible that this thing is horrible. I'm really proud that we got that on the design.
Megaclops is actually Polyphemus, who appears in the Odyssey where Odysseus goes into the cave and they have to stab him in the eye. And that's how he's been incorporated into the multiplayer. This is the biggest character I've worked on, by far. Here's the full body of him. His lower half was not going to be incorporated. We didn't even build this because we were told that there was going to be a dust storm down there. And this is just kind of how things change around here. So now I had to go back and block in the legs. We're getting in and sculpting every dot and every pore because you get so close. His head and his shoulders and arms are at 11 million polys. We've had to sculpt each individual wrinkle and everything that happens on the hands. When I do start to color him, we can create masks from all of the depth, and then I can paint on top of that. The reds really pop, and then we can get some yellows on the surface of the skin, just make it feel a little more real. Oh, the annoying part was sculpting his decap. What we do for the decap is we have two meshes. So we have his original mesh, which doesn't have any of these wounds on it. When they cut him, we'll swap that out. Once we swap that out, they'll cut down his face and there'll be like a light explosion. And when that explodes, it'll swap to this. What we wanted to do was have that cut go over the edge so it looked more natural. So that's kind of what this is visually representing. And then once the explosion happens, his mouth pretty much split open. His bottom jaw will get cut in half. So we have these little bone bits that are sticking out, little organs and muscle tissue and fat. It's really hard to do because you have all of the ups and downs with the teeth and all that's connected, and it was a huge pain. It took way longer than I thought it would.
First, I was designing a lot of architectures, and once Todd and Chris liked the architecture, then I had to kind of put them into a 3D geometry, which was given to me from level designer. That was kind of hard because everything was made out of a geometry. It was literally just all cubes. And most architectures are not cubes, but I had to come up with a solution to look great. So what you see on the left of my screen are the high vision of sketches, kind of quick kind of color comp. And once they saw this, they kind of like few of the ideas. This were sent to the level designers, and this is what I got back. Everything was just 2 cube and everything was just all same size. I began to put some of the textures and some of the assets and just kind of try to come up with the interesting areas possible. For the final, I kind of took easy design and tried to put them into the scenery. And then I did broke off some of the pieces in here just to make it a little bit more interesting, adding some rounder kind of columns, and this was pretty much the final.
A lot of people, when they play a God of War game, it feels like refined design and Greek and classical, but there's always this edge that's a little bit fantastic. Not fantasy, but it's special and, you know, grand. We were always kind of talking like, what is this place? It's just this weird little town in the desert. And so we were kind of talking like, okay, maybe the gods or whoever just chained Polyphemus here. So they added in chain towers with some stands on there so they could watch this sort of battle happen. Maybe we could have some chimneys with smoke coming out of them and some decayed bridges, and some of the buildings are sort of falling apart from previous battles that have happened there. We have these rotundas, sort of gondola tops on top that he can smash. It was definitely really fun to work on.
You have everything feeling kind of brown. The brown rock, you've got sand, which is brownish, you've got wood, ropes. It's hard to see where can you jump as a player. And we really want to highlight some of those edges, so a few strips of color, almost like paint, to help guide the player. It's a kind of a gamey thing, but in the end, if it's going to make the game play better, it's worth sacrificing some of the believability of the world. We're doing things now that we just take for granted that we couldn't have done on God of War 3.